Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi. It's on Love 99.5 FM in over 30 affiliates dotted across Ghana's 16 regions, including Radio Free in Nandom, Lolonyo FM in Hohoe, Bishara Radio in Tamale, Gbolu FM in Gbolu, Go Digital on Spotify, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com app. In this edition, majority in Parliament insists nothing stops the Ghana Revenue Authority from implementing controversial e-levy policy as it describes injunction application by 3 NDC MPs as dead on arrival.
If Parliament has not postponed the operation of the bill, immediately after the assent, it comes into operation.
We'll hear from the minority as well, and Ghana Revenue Authority meanwhile describes a successful test run of system to monitor and charge the levy.
An end-to-end test has been done successfully with a number of transactions that has gone through successfully without any failure. It behoves on the charging entities to ensure that they do the integration.
As organised labour demands 19% increase in salary with Clocksack wanting payment of neutrality allowance, we ask, is there a way out of what experts say is a possible collapse of an already distressed economy?
In the meantime, it appears that they may have to agree maybe some moderate increment, but I think 19% increase is not something that the government finances can contain at this moment.
Plus, the very latest on the Clocksack strike, an EPA initiates a nationwide market surveillance to check the sale of burnt and unlicensed chemicals, including DDT, said to be used in crop production.
So we're going to encompass all those areas and then make sure we clamp down on the use, the importation, illegal importation, and distribution of these substances, particularly DDT.
We have sports.
Financially distressed Real Tamale United risks missing out on March the 26th Premier League fixture against Elmina Sharks as club struggles to raise money for the game.
And later we'll hear all about the struggles of young Muslim children in this month of Ramadan.
So in the morning, when I finished eating, I did my chores. Exactly 8. Then my stomach started growling. Then I went to the kitchen and saw some jollof.
We have that and more in this edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. In our very first story for this afternoon, majority in Parliament have been holding a press conference insisting that nothing stops the Ghana Revenue Authority from implementing the controversial e-levy policy. They've been describing the injunction application by 3 NDC MPs as dead on arrival. I'll tell you more about that and take you live to Parliament shortly, but we know also that the Ghana Revenue Authority had been describing a successful test run of systems to monitor and charge the electronic transaction levy as they dismiss calls by the telecommunication chamber to postpone the May 1 implementation. The deputy ranking member on Parliament's Communications Committee, Sam George, and the Telecoms Chamber says the system acquired to facilitate the implementation of the tax policy lacks the ability to identify exempted transfers. They fear the May 1 implementation date may bring about chaos and revenue loss as government seeks to rake in a 1.5% charge on all electronic transactions. Let's first listen to the Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber, Dr. Ken Ashigbe.
Is there ever a good time for taxes? I'm not sure anybody will ever say that.
Sincere apologies for that. We'll bring you Ken Ashigbe shortly. But the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishadai Owusu-Amwa, says the system turned out successfully during the stress test. He explains how it will be done in an interview with my colleague George Riafe.
What the entities will have to do is to ensure that they have understood, they are taking all the necessary protocols and then be able to interface with the system. But the system is available, the APIs is available, an end-to-end test has been done successfully with a number of transactions that has gone through successfully without any failure. So we are confident that it behoves on the charging entities to ensure that they do the integration.
How is this system working, or is this going to work to ensure that everything is seamless, and how has it been designed and all the rest? Help me.
When you go onto your service provider and you initiate your transaction, and let's say, for example, you are transferring money from your service provider, and assuming your service provider is, say, MTN, and you are doing 1,000 Ghana cedis. So immediately the system, within several fractions of a second, will have to check and see that account where the money is going. Has it got the same ID as the account from which the money is originating? If it has the same ID, then it means that it's the same George Uyafe that the money is being transferred to. So immediately then it will tell the particular system that don't charge, because by the check that the system has done, this transaction is from the one person to the same person, therefore don't charge. At the same time, and it's not just checking, so this is for one-to-one. And then if it comes to the limit, so you are doing 100 cedis, and you are assuming that this 100 cedis is within the threshold, and therefore it shouldn't charge. At the time when you are doing the threshold, your 100 cedis, that same system, we quickly talk to all the many systems that are connected to it, and be able to see that, oh, you have already done 100 cedis with this other EMI. And therefore, this 100 cedis that, under normal circumstances, should not be charged, should be charged, because you have already done 100 cedis there. So that's how the system works.
Well, the effect of this is that beginning Sunday, May 1, you will pay an extra 1.5% on all electronic transaction levies above the exempted threshold. Reverend Amishadai Oswamwa says the implementation date will not change.
We are working around the clock and putting every effort that we have to put in to ensure that we are able to get this tax rolling on the 1st of May. As you are aware, it was passed not quite long ago. And before then, we had also done some groundwork and getting a lot of people involved. As far as first May is concerned, this is a tax that runs whether it is a holiday or a working day. And so because it's based upon the transaction that you do, we are still taking off on the 1st of May in respect of the fact that it's a holiday. It is based upon whether you are doing the transaction or not. So it's not like whether we have found you working on a particular day, but once the transaction is being done on a particular day or on a particular time, the tax then applies.
So that's Reverend Amishadai Owusu Amwa, in charge of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Now, I'll take you to Parliament. I've been telling you about the majority press conference held by the majority leader, Oseichi Mensah-Bonsu. He's been commenting, amongst others, on the implementation of the e-levy. And for him, the application filed by 3 NDC MPs, including the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, is dead on arrival. They are asking for an injunction on the implementation of the e-levy. Parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson is there for us. He joins us on the line. So, Parker, first off, let's talk about the basis for this position by the majority leader.
Well, so he says that even though Parliament is on its way, he has seen that the minority, what he calls shenanigans by the minority, to injunct the e-levy. And for him, his argument is that the levy was legally approved by Parliament, and subsequently the President assented to it. So it's become a law, full in operation. It is only waiting for the commencement day. So the injunction seeking to stop the commencement of the e-levy is an exercise in futility.
Upon the assent of the President, a bill, if Parliament has not postponed the operation of the bill, immediately after the assent, it comes into operation. So if you fall foul to it, you can be prosecuted for falling foul to a bill that has been assented by. So, this bill is in operation. If the minister tells you that the actual collection will start from first May, and you think that it's not started, so you want to put impediments in the way before the commencement date. I don't know what the understanding of the commencement or the implementation of the bill is. So that is it. But I think that we are beholding some dangerous spectacle in Ghana.
So So that's the majority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu. Well, he's been addressing other issues that I'll take on with parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson shortly. But first, let me bring in one of the MPs pushing to have the implementation of the e-levy halted. They filed an injunction application, we are told, served to be heard on the 4th of May. Mr. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, North Tongue MP, we're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So it appears, even though your injunction application has been served on those who are supposed to be implementing, it's having no effect at all. You've heard the majority leader is actually dead on arrival.
Well, good afternoon, MFA. The majority leader does not speak on behalf of the judiciary, so I treat his comments with contempt. It has no effect at all on our case. He's not the Chief Justice, and he's not the panel going to hear our case on the 4th of May. So that press conference, it's really an exercise in futility. It's just blowing hot air. I've also heard the GRA commissioner, and he will be well advised. Indeed, we are taking note of all of these statements, and we will return to the Supreme Court shortly and draw the Apex Court's attention to these contemptuous statements. This is a war that we are determined to wage in the interest of the Ghanaian people, and most importantly, to uphold the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. Everybody, every citizen is under the law, is under the Constitution of Ghana, and we are all obliged to defend and uphold the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. 136 MPs cannot purport to have passed the e-levy. They cannot. When 137 MPs claimed they have rejected the 2022 budget, the Supreme Court held in the Abdullah case that the threshold under Article 1041 is 138. If 137 cannot make a decision, cannot reject the budget, how can an inferior number of 136 purport to have made a decision leading to the passage of this obnoxious, regressive, punitive, and totally repugnant e-levy? And you see, we must serve a very clear caution that those who are on this path, the path of lawlessness, the path of anarchy, they shouldn't think they have monopoly. We are taking the constitutional path, the path.
Did we lose North Tongue MP?
Hello?
Are you there, Mr. Okudzeto-Ablakwa?
Hello?
Okay, please, you would have to just wrap up for me.
Yes, so I want to caution the GRA commissioner and others who want to take a lawless path that we will remain committed to the lawful constitutional processes. However, if they compel us, we will be forced to meet them in their terms. We will meet them on their terms, I should say, and we are going to make sure.
What does that mean?
Because if you want to be contemptuous of the courts, if you want to be lawless, the Constitution imposes on us a duty, a responsibility to stop you.
Are you going to cite them for contempt?
And any means that we must use to stop them, we will. But as I've told you, we will draw the attention of the courts that these persons, these agents, these assigns, these privies of government are poised to, as it were, be contemptuous of the courts, to violate our laws, and that the court should take action, should hold them in contempt.
Okay. That's the North Tongue MP, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Well, amongst others, also the majority leader at the press conference is asking the Speaker to reject the motion of rescission filed by the Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak, challenging the Speaker's decision at referring 3 NPP MPs to the Privileges Committee. He says the move by Muntaka is not grounded in law. We'll turn attention to some other issues, and this afternoon, agitations on the Labour front is in focus. Organised Labour is asking for a 19% increase increase in salaries, with members of ClockSAC demanding payment of 20% neutrality allowance on their basic salaries. Government has already indicated that the economy is in challenging times, but the unions say hikes in prices of goods and services means their salaries can no longer meet their needs. Charles Kofiose is Deputy General Secretary of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEW, and he says they would demand that the new minimum wage is pegged against the current rate of inflation.
It's always fixed to the inflationary rate. So if inflation is 19.4% for this moment, then you can expect something higher, equivalent to the rate of inflation in this country.
Just to clarify, you're expecting something above 19% increase in salaries?
You have said it all.
Meanwhile, the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Yauba, has vowed workers will be uncompromising with this demand.
The National Tripartite Committee has started the process towards determining the minimum wage for this year. For us, that is a do and die. We are going to make sure that minimum wage for workers for this year should not be below inflation. And this will be extended to public sector workers as well. So there's a battle ahead of us. And I can see organized labor is ready to fight.
Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Yauba. Well, economist Dr. Patrick Isuming says government finances cannot support such expenditure.
On one hand, government needs to, come up with something convincing that, the macroeconomic environment will stabilize. I think if we were at a situation where inflation was lower single digit, I don't think Labour would be agitating as much as it is doing. In the meantime, it appears that they may have to agree to maybe some moderate increment, but I think 19% increase is not something that the government finances can contain at this moment.
Well, but if you look at how where the inflation rate is, and you give anything less than, then you are making them worse off because prices of goods are up there and their salary is down there.
Well, I understand that, but you have to understand that the inflation over the last 12 months has not been 19%.
So that's economist Dr. Patrick Isuming there. So whilst TUC is making this demand, it's day 2 of the strike initiated by the civil servants, ClockSAC, over this neutrality allowance. It's 20% of their basic salary. So unlike yesterday, fewer people turn up at various offices hoping to transact business. We visited some of these offices earlier in the day, starting from the Registrar General's Department. Michael Papania Shale has more.
Many of them still come here and have to be turned away because the civil servants are on strike. Today they put up a notice, a public notice, and says that the management of the department wishes to inform its cherished clients that the department will be closed to the business community from Thursday until further notice. Clients are advised to use their online portal for their business registration or dial the short code *222# to renew their sole proprietorship businesses. There are others who are here to pick up their operating certificate and all that, their licenses to do their businesses. We'll speak to one of them. What's your name?
I'm Obed Kofi Annan.
Okay, Obed. So what exactly were you here to do?
2 weeks ago, I made online registration, business registration, and I was sent an email that the business certificate is ready, so I should come for it. So basically, I came here to take the certificate.
And as part of that arrangement, today is the day you are supposed to pick that up.
I was given today to come for the certificate.
What's going to happen to you now? That's a certificate you definitely need to continue your business.
Yes, I really need it. We plan of using it, registering mobile money today.
So sounds from the Registrar General's Department. Michael has returned from his tour. He joins me in studio. So you visited other places. What's been happening there?
Yeah, so I visited the Ministry for Lands, Gender, Education. All the other places, sanitation. And essentially, if you've been there before, you know that place is a very busy area. But unlike those days, today was quiet and empty. I mean, that's what we really found. And no businesses are happening around that place.
Okay, well, that's Michael Papania Shale there. Grateful. Meanwhile, the civil and local government staff have resolved to continue their nationwide strike after negotiations with government ended inconclusively late last night. Clocksack is demanding the payment of this neutrality allowance, which has been in arrears since January 2022. The allowance, we're told, is compensation paid to the workers for remaining politically neutral. And Dr. Isaac Bampoado, Executive Secretary of Clocksack, spoke to journalists after the meeting with government.
Discussion, and there are certain things we put on the table. So government is going to get back to us. So when they get back to us, then, well, that's for us. These are our negotiations. We can't give you details, but certain things have been put before us. We've also stated our position. Government is going to get back to us. I can't disclose it to you. That information is for our council. It's in the same vein. The directive from the National Labour Commission was for Minister of Finance to give us a payment plan.
Yeah.
And that's what we've just done. So whatever plan they're giving to us, our National Executive Council is going to look at it. They are the ones that call the strike. It's only them that can call off as a strike. So whatever payment plan we've been given, we're going to put it before National Executive Council. And if they agree, so be it.
So is the strike still on?
It's definitely on. What locus has Imani Ghana got to do? They should go and read the labor law. It's a relation between an employer and an employer. What is his locus? My friend, tell him to go and sleep. He should mind his own business.
That's the Executive Secretary of Clocksack, Dr. Isaac Bampoado. Well, the National Labour Commission has condemned the strike by the civil servants and local government staff across the country that has actually crippled public services. Ofuswa Samoa is the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission.
You see, this is what we do. At the end of the day, the same people will come back and say that they went into an agreement with government and the government is not respecting it. Labour Commission is directing it. Government is not following. When you yourself, you are not following a direction. The law is clear that when negotiations are going on, when the commission is seized with a matter for determination, within that, the parties, including parties, are not to engage in strike on the side of labor.
You heard there, Ofuswa Samoa is the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission. You're listening to the Midday News. It's live on Joy99.7 FM in Kumasi. It's Love 99.5 FM. We're on Bishara Radio in Tamale, Jata FM in Karaga, and Kigli FM in Bole, and also live on Spotify, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com. Majority in Parliament has been insisting nothing stops the Ghana Revenue Authority from implementing the controversial e-levy policy as it describes the injunction application by 3 NDC MPs as dead on arrival. We've been hearing from one of these NDC MPs, and they are contemplating citing the Ghana Revenue Authority, amongst others, for contempt of court. When we return, we have sports with a focus on RTU, and we'll tell you the struggles of young Muslim children in this month of Ramadan.
So in the morning, when I finished eating, I did my chores. Exactly 8. Then my stomach started growling. Then I went to the kitchen and saw some jollof.
Many thanks for your company. Muftau, his stomach doesn't growl at 8. What's in sports?
Well, Real Tamale United, they are in financial distress. We had a conversation with the communications manager of the club, Seye Mubarak, who's been telling us some of the challenges the club is going through.
RTU for now is not running on a budget. We only dependent on donations and philanthropic gestures from stakeholders of the game. When we're traveling to Takwa, our CEO has to use plots of land that he owes as collateral to borrow money for Real Tamale United. We could look among management members to follow suit. So we'll look within. If any management member has, similar issues, we could use the same as, collateral to borrow once again to let the club. We cannot say we will not honor this match. So whatever means management will do to get, the team in Elmina to honor this game, we definitely will have to. And even if it means that we have to use our plots of land as collateral, we will have to wait in for some monies that probably will come from somewhere for us to be able to settle all this.
That is Say Mubarak, Communications Manager of Real Tamale United.
Thank you very much, Muftal. Now let's focus on the environment because the EPA is conducting a nationwide market surveillance to check the sale of DDT-infected foods, especially watermelon. A survey by scientists at the KNUST reviewed watermelons on the market had high level of the banned chemical. Children have been found to be at higher risk of suffering adverse health effects, including cancer, if they consume the fruits regularly. Dr. Netta Prasam, a medical correspondent here at Joy News, has been speaking to the scientists.
All these are communities where they are doing extensive farming into fruits and fruits mainly. And we looked at 3 of them, banana, pineapple, and watermelon. For watermelon, the risk of consumption for adults was low, whereas that for infants was alarmingly high. I would say alarmingly high because the factor that we got was far greater than 1, which means that it is alarming. Also, when we looked at the carcinogenic risk, we also realized that the children are at a risk of having cancer.
Well, speaking to my colleague Benjamin Akakpo on the AM show, Chief Executive Officer of the EPA, Dr. Henry Kwabena-Kokofu, said the agency is taking up the matter.
Yes, 2 months ago, EPA was on the ground. We received some of these products in Techiman. Currently, as we speak, Ashanti region EPA is undertaking market survey of some of these. There are others that are even not banned, but they are not licensed and their efficacies are suspect. So, yes, I agree with you that we should hit the ground running. We are already on the ground, but we're going to intensify and then work collaboratively with the police, with the other agencies that I've mentioned, the FDA in particular. We've been collaborating with them all this while. So, we're going to go ahead and do the market surveillance and then other. It is not Mambo alone.
That's the EPA Director there, Henry Kwabena-Kokofu. Now, Ramadan is seen as a spiritual time for reflection, improvement, and increased devotion and worship of God. Already, the Vice President has been describing it as a blessing that Ramadan and Easter all fall in the same month of April. Well, during this period, adult Muslims do not eat nor drink from dawn to dusk, even though children of the Muslim faith are expected to begin fasting once they have reached puberty. In the following report, my colleague Anas Sabit has been interacting with some children below the fasting age on how they first embarked on this important religious journey.
Muslim children typically aren't expected to fast during Ramadan until they reach puberty. But most often, kids will want to start earlier because they see everyone else abstaining from food and water from sunrise to sunset, followed by their community gathering to break their fast together, and they want to participate. Today, I set off to engage some of these kids on how they began observing the dawn to dusk religious obligation. 14-year-old Fatih Idris was 9 when she first attempted to fast.
When I started fasting, we were staying in Accra. When we went to school, I saw my friends fasting, so when I came home, I told my mom that I also wanted to fast. So in the morning, when I finished eating, I did my chores. Exactly 8. Then my stomach started growling. Then I went to the kitchen and saw some jollof. But I controlled myself. But when it was 12, I couldn't control myself anymore, and I drank water.
Unlike Fatih Idris, who started at age 9, Abdulaziz Issa's first fasting experience was at age 13.
I myself wanted to fast because it was good. All my friends were doing it, and I was told that when you do, you receive blessing from Allah.
Like most of the kids I spoke with, 9-year-old Shurem is fasting for the first time this year. He attempted to do so a year ago, but failed to make it to sunset.
I was hungry. I was crying for help.
That's Anas Savit's report. Now, unusually, a group of stroke survivors have decided to raise awareness on stroke and its disabling effect on those who suffer from it. Through singing, they hope to uplift their spirits as well as to demystify the myths surrounding stroke in Ghana. Here's Michael Ashale's report.
What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and grief to bear.
This is the Stroke Survivors Choir. They were all once down with stroke, rendered either completely or partially immobile. Today, they sing the ever version of the popular hymn, What a Friend We Have in Jesus.
Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. Oh.
A group of 13 people, all from Peki in the Volta region. Believe it or not, this is the first time they are performing in public, and only after rehearsing for a few hours while en route to the Greater Accra region for the annual Stroke Survivors Day celebration at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Samuel Sedodo is the executive chairman of the Stroke Survivors Association and also one of 2 choir instructors.
Today is our first time of trying to sing in public like this.
Well, that's Michael Fafania Shali's report, ending today's edition of the Midday News on Joy99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. And news just in, we've been following the KNUST development, and students, over 6,000 of them who were forced to defer their course because of non-payment of fees, have been given an extension for them to do so after an intervention of the Ministry of Education. Well, he's also been speaking to grade A schools. If you are the best, accept students with low grades and perform wonders with them. That's the Education Minister. Also, TUC to resist any attempt by government to deny them improved conditions of service this year. That and more on myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensel Tabil is up next. I am Memefa Pau. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.
Hey,
Dada, MTN will never ask you for your PIN. Never reveal your PIN to anyone under any circumstances. And if you are not sure, always check the number. MTN will only call you with a dedicated number, 0244 300,000. Stay safe, stay vigilant. MTN.
The University of the Free State, one of the oldest and most respected universities in South Africa, is on your doorstep. Find out more about the undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications offered in our 7 faculties and the vibrant student life for international students. Visit the open day on 29th and 30th April at the Mervenpick Ambassador Hotel from 9 to 8. Come and experience how the University of the Free State inspires excellence and transforms lives through quality, impact, and care.
Electroland Ghana Limited is showing love this Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum, we have dropped prices. Shh, relax, time is limited. Let me tell you a secret. Walk into the EGL showroom and grab something from Samsung, Nasco, Toshiba, Media, and many more. All inside EGL. With as little as 499 Ghana cedis, you can grab yourself a Toshiba standing fan. Grab your Nasco AC, Samsung televisions from 32 inches to as big as 75 inches. Yes! Toshiba washing machine, Nasco fridge, Toshiba microwave, Sound Tower soundbar, and many more. It's Ramadan EGL promotion.
Let us cherish the time spent together with family and friends. We wish you and your families Ramadan Karim, an EGL Ramadan promotion.
Hello, CEOs. The Sith Ghana CEO Summit is here. The foremost business conference for over 500 topmost CEOs, heads of state, business leaders, and policymakers. The summit shall be held on the 30th of May, 2022 at the Kempinski Hotel on the theme Digital Leadership for the Digital Economy, Leading Digital Business and Government Transformation, a public-private sector CEO dialogue and learning. This impactful summit has attracted over 2,000 dignitaries across West Africa. The special guest of honor is His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana. Be enlightened with strategic insights on the latest business trends. Connect with influential CEOs, plenaries, and expert insight. For corporate registration and inquiries, visit www.ghanaceosummit.com or call 054-639-1970. Powered by CEO Network Ghana in partnership with Deloitte, GIPC, SIGA, and Multimedia Group. All COVID-19 protocols will be observed. Terms and conditions apply. Ghana CEO Summit, inspiring business leadership and economic transformation.
The nationwide payments of the 75th and 76th cycles